There was a time when the United States was the beacon of dreams where ambition, opportunity, and adventure converge. But now, the dream seems to be boarding one-way flights back home. From Paris to Tokyo, people are no one wipes it clean, no one gazes in, no one wonders what happened, steering. If local governments act, if communities support small businesses, if we work to restore our image not through slogans but through real change, then maybe, just maybe, we can reverse the trend, clear of America as if dodging potholes on them. When visitors vanish, entire economies unravel, especially in tourism-reliant states like Florida, Nevada, and Hawaii. What may seem like a few canceled flights spirals into hotel bankruptcies, shuttered restaurants, and thousands lining up for food assistance. In this video, we'll dive into 15 countries quietly stepping back from America, which states are crumbling first, and why you may already be living in one without noticing. Welcome to the silent unraveling of a tourism empire. Let's begin in California. Once brimming with Chinese tourists, the Golden State now echoes with silence. Neighborhoods that were once lively now feel abandoned. Wind rustles through shuttered storefronts once filled with laughter and Mandarin chatter. China, once sending nearly 3 million travelers annually to the U.S., has seen that number drop by over 88% since pre-pandemic days. No conflict, no new outbreak, no policy change. They simply stopped coming. A San Francisco woman who ran a small Chinatown souvenir shop for nearly 30 years said she sold just one cocaine last week. She's closing for good. No announcements, no help, just fading footsteps. Some point to exchange rates and tighter U.S. visa rules. But the underlying truth is more emotional. Chinese travelers no longer feel welcomed. Thailand, South Korea, and Europe now offer warmer receptions, easier access, and fewer hassles. Even Rodeo Drive has changed, once bustling with Chinese luxury shoppers. Many boutiques now display for lease signs. High-end brands are shifting their investments to Singapore, Tokyo, and Dubai. California isn't just losing business, it's losing its status. As the gateway to the American dream, the once sparkling mirror now gathers dust. But there is still time for California and the country, because California is only the beginning. Now, let's head to New York. Northern New York used to be a weekend playground for Canadians. Families crossed the border for shopping, sightseeing, and dining. But now, the warmth has gone cold, and not just because of the weather. Nearly half of Canadian travelers have reduced or canceled their U.S. plans since 2023. A 61-year-old tour guide in Buffalo hasn't had a group in 3 months. No protests, no drama, just silence. They stopped coming. Last weekend, I drove by the bus lot, 36 spaces, all empty. He said his wife, once a hotel worker, now works in a laundromat, and when their dollar weakens, they wonder, why spend it somewhere that doesn't feel friendly? We talk often about China and Russia, yet rarely pause to examine our closest relationship, Canada. Why? Now, most shops sit half-lit, owners waiting for customers who never arrive. Perhaps it's because when they cross the border, many Canadians now feel like outsiders due to shifting visa rules, trade tensions, and an unspoken rise in xenophobia. Coconut trees sway for no one, but for many Korean travelers, the dream now lies in Thailand, Bali, or Vietnam. Cheaper, easier, and more welcoming. When that disappears, so does the oxygen feeding local life. Their retirement savings are gone. Walking through those silent halls feels like cleaning a memory, the husband said. In towns like Plattsburgh, Canadian shoppers once made up 40% of weekend retail. This isn't just economics. It's human. Connection quietly fading. Flights from Seoul, once full, are being slashed. Waikiki hotels are operating at 60% capacity or less. Next, let's visit a destination once synonymous with paradise. Hawaii. Once a dream destination for millions of South Koreans, Hawaii's golden sands now sit undisturbed. Lounge chairs remain empty. South Korean visitors who once made up over 20% of Hawaii, as foreign tourists have dropped by nearly 70%. A couple who spent 15 years as hotel housekeepers said their shifts have shrunk to 2 days a week. On paper, Hawaii is still marketed as a dream. It's not just the hotels suffering. Restaurants, cab drivers, diving instructors, even janitors rely on international tourism. What's worse, state tourism boards still act like everything's fine. But what is a paradise if no one visits? What is a melody if no one listens? Hawaii still has a chance by loosening visa restrictions, supporting small businesses, and protecting long-time locals like the Nakamuras. If even paradise can be forgotten, what place is truly safe? Now we turn to Florida. Once a top spot for British families, now Disney maps are held by far fewer hands. The parking lots at theme parks echo with emptiness. Florida still offers fun, but fewer people are showing up. In 2019, over 1.2 million Brits vacationed in Florida. By 2024, fewer than 500,000 came. It's easy to blame a weak pound or rising airfare. But it's not just about money. It's about experience. British travelers once came for warmth, both have the sun and the welcome. Now, they head to Europe instead. Easier visas, 30 to 40% lower costs, and less friction at customs. Florida remains a playground, with the lights on, but no line for the roller coaster. Hotels report international bookings are down by more than half. Souvenir shops close early. English breakfast joints now open only on weekends. And still, the government insists everything is just fine. But if even Britain, America's most loyal tourist source, turns away, what's really changing? And who's willing to face it? Let's move southwest to Texas. Now, the border crossings are still, but not because of walls. Once a symbol of border unity, Texas is now eerily quiet. Mexicans used to flood across for weekend getaways. From 2023 to 2024, visits dropped by 40%. Mexico once sent 18 million visitors to the U.S. annually, many to Texas. Texas rolled out discounts, Spanish language campaigns, and visa waivers, but no one's biting. Because discounts can't erase disrespect. Political posturing, border inspections, and rhetoric have left scars. But now, the French Quarter is quiet, just echoes off empty walls. By 2024, visits dropped over 60%. And when your closest neighbor walks away in silence, maybe it's time to rethink how we open the door. And the young, once inspired to perform, are walking away. Mexican travelers don't feel welcome anymore. They feel like suspects. So, they stop coming. Texas, once the friendly porch across the street, now feels locked. But now, they choose Toronto instead. Next up, Louisiana. Otherwise, the melody will fade into memory. New Orleans used to stir nostalgia in French travelers, reminding them of home. In 2019, France was one of Louisiana's top sources of international tourism, not because they stopped loving jazz, but because just stopped feeling safe. And without an audience, is there still a show? Incidents of crime, no matter how rare, are enough to deter. Live bands have been replaced by background music. Architecture tours have been canceled. German firms have pulled conferences and funding. BMW, Siemens, Bosch now hesitate to host events in a city where the audience disappeared. Louisiana doesn't need reinvention, it needs protection. Invest in safety, support local talent, and reconnect with international communities. But even with expanded university quotas and visa programs, Indian arrivals are declining. Now, Chicago. To Germans, Chicago once offered art, architecture, and tech, all without New York's chaos. German tourism to Illinois has dropped by over 50% since 2023. Ironically, Chicago still hosts Oktoberfest and German-sponsored fairs. But visitors no longer feel it's worth the cost or the risk. Reports of violence, inflation, and an unfavorable exchange rate push them away. Chicago still shines. The shows still go on, but the seats are empty. Then there's New Jersey. Indians once saw it as a bridge to opportunity. Why? Because it's not about tuition or paperwork. It's about the feeling of belonging. Discrimination, rising housing costs, and strained immigration systems have pushed Indian students, workers, and families to pause and ask, are we truly welcome? New Jersey isn't just losing students, it's losing future innovators, healthcare workers, and tech pioneers. A major New York hospital reports a 25% drop in Indian interns. What's lost isn't numbers, it's momentum. And what happens when the library is still open, but no one walks through the door? Now we land in Nevada. Las Vegas used to be Australia's fantasy. But today, the casinos are emptier. Lights still flash, but for whom? Australians once visited in droves, spending 30% more than other tourists. In 2024, the number dropped by 55%. Why? Because Vegas now feels like a trap. Everything's overpriced, service is spotty, and headlines scream about violence and scams. So they go to Seoul, Tokyo, even Manila instead. Vegas was once a celebration. Now it feels forced. A club with music blasting, but no dancers. One major Aussie travel firm has removed Vegas from its must-see U.S. packages. A VIP casino floor just shut down. The party is over, but the DJ keeps spinning. Finally, Massachusetts Brazilian visitors once viewed it as a cultural treasure, especially Boston and Cambridge. But in 2024, tourism dropped nearly 50% from 2018 levels. Why? Because Massachusetts became unapproachable, sky-high rents, a cold academic culture, and an unwelcoming vibe pushed them out. Programs with Brazilian universities are canceled. Cultural exchange events lack support. The state, once admired for intellect, now feels closed off. Massachusetts doesn't need a new image. It needs to return to its heart warmth, accessibility, connection. 10 countries have turned away from the U.S. tourism map. No headlines, no protests, just silence. This isn't just a drop in revenue. It's a loss of reputation, trust, and shared stories. But if we fail to protect the soul of our nation, the world won't wait for us to figure it out. We're not here to point fingers, but to spark a conversation about healing, awareness, and action. No blame, only an invitation to understand where we stand and how we can rebuild. We still have beauty. We still have value. Which state are you in? Are you seeing these changes firsthand? Let us know in the comments. If this video gave you something to reflect on, please like, subscribe, and share. All insights presented are based on public data, travel patterns, and lived experiences. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.